Hey guys, Joel's here with another reasoning session, and today we're going to be talking about taking power over the evil, demonic entity.
Come now and let us reason together. Come now, we can talk it over.
Now, I'm sure some people are going to think that I've completely lost it, but you know what? I know for a fact, from personal experience, not just dealing with myself, but other people I know really well, that this kind of energy, this kind of force is a real principle that operates in our universe. And the only way to beat them is to take authority over them. And guess what? Those of us that are tapped in with the living logos, i.e. Jesus Christ, we have absolute authority over this kind of energy. And literally, they can't even stand up to that force. That's what woke me up in the first place. One day, literally, like I was being overwhelmed by this. Like they were coming in my thoughts, they were coming in nightmares. And all of a sudden I remembered, I was raised in like the religious institution and I knew the power of Christ, but I just never applied it. And all of a sudden, you know what I did? I just visualized myself throwing this splash of Christ's blood at them, and they literally just started to sizzle and shrivel up in front of me and just kind of like whimper and whine and like disintegrate right in front of me. And all their oppression, all their vile and evil thoughts that they were spewing into my own mind, I realized wasn't even my own mind. And it was all coming from them. And in that instant, it was like I literally shifted dimensions. So this stuff is real. It's powerful. And if you're not on board, guys, talk to Source and just be like, Source, I want this. Reveal to me the risen Christ. And Source is faithful. Source will bring you to that power, literally seated at the highest point of this entire universe. But I'm going to be talking about the nature of how these entities operate. And we're going to look at the Evangelion of Luke for this, where Jesus actually sends his disciples out to take authority over these evil spirits. And when they come back, they're shocked. They say, you know what? We went to this place and even the evil spirits are obeying us. And he said to them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So, yes, these evil entities, they talk big. But guess what? They've already fallen, and it's only a mind game that we play. And this is exemplified further in the passage as he continues saying, Behold, I give unto you power to tread upon serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. So this is where this authority actually comes from. It comes from this energy of the living logos that, yes, was literalized as a historical Jesus, but this energy is not a physical being. Sure, it may have embodied a physical being, but this energy existed from before the world was created, because this energy is the very force that manifests the physical world. But really interesting here are the words he uses to describe these evil entities, and he uses the words serpents and scorpions. Now, since these are Greek scriptures, we got to look at what the Greek actually means when they're talking about serpents and scorpions. In the ancient Greek world, the serpent, which was the word ophis, actually represents cunning and wisdom, but that word is derived from optonome, which actually means to see or to appear. And then we go to the word scorpion, and that, of course, is the Greek word scorpios, but that comes from skopos, which actually means an observer or a watchman. It also means a distant mark or like a goal that you have that you want to achieve. But that itself ultimately comes from the term skeptome, which actually means to peer about, much like a skeptic does. So we're actually dealing with realms of perception. And Paul even writes in his second epistle to the church in Corinth, But if our gospel is hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, right? Not the physical man. This is the entire image of God that was literalized as a historical physical man, but transcends time and space, that it should shine unto them. Now, the God of this world that he's referring to, that blinded their eyes, it's religion. It's blinded people. And we're talking here about perspective or our perception, our vision or our version of who Source or God is. Ultimately, this is all based on your perception, and that is, yes, the ultimate reality, but that doesn't mean it's ultimate truth. And that's how these entities actually get in and steer you away from realizing ultimate truth. It has to do with perception. And the only way they can actually get in, the first step that they get into your mind, is through fear. Fear is the bottom line, and that's what they use to blind people.
No longer can they interrupt our network with their pirated broadcasts of hope and love. Finally, fear will reign in the hearts of children everywhere.
It seems like years now since all the world's broadcast networks were taken over by the NME Corporation. NME is a secret acronym for notoriously malicious enterprises. At first, the organization and its programming appeared relatively harmless, but then the shows grew more and more violent and controlling. NME said they just gave people what they wanted. The organization used entertainment as a disguise to expand its reach until every network was under their control. Now, they attempt to control the entire world with a message of fear and evil aimed mostly at children. They believe if they can control the children, that they can control the future, a plan that could work.
Because perception, in order to interpret it, it must be translated, and that's the only way that you can communicate it. But communicating it, like me talking to you, that's kind of happening on an immature level. There's a much deeper, more mature level that is more intrinsic to our nature as energetic beings, and that's not communication, but communion. Communion is mature, and that ultimately is like a term derived from common union. You know, it's like the longer you're married, the more you can communicate without actually talking to each other. Like, you know, she could just walk in the room and you'd sense like the temperature just dropped. So it's like, you know, all of that. And of course, the common union then got perverted, and you get communism and all this other stuff that's still egoic and trying to, you know, rationalize and resolve these certain principles in society, like the bourgeoisie and proletariat and all that stuff. So we have to step beyond the ego. We have to step beyond the physical and realize just where our opposition is coming from and take authority in the causal realm. And if we realize we don't have authority, we got to ask Source, because Source is waiting for all of us with open arms. There's no distinction, there's no barriers, and Source is no respecter of persons. Source does not discriminate. So if you're coming to Source earnestly and you're saying, Source, teach me how to harness this authority that actually is beaming to all of us all the way. It's like, you know, if you're not picking up the radio station properly, you don't go to the transmitter and say, hey guys, there's something wrong with your broadcast system. You tune your radio properly. You get on the right frequency, and then the music or whatever you're trying to listen to, whatever you're trying to watch, will just stream right through, no problem. And that's what we have to do. We have to set our frequency to the right level, because yes, astrology, yes, crystals, yes, all these kind of things, they're up there in the heavens, but that's only second heaven level. If you go all the way to third heaven, that's the highest seat of authority in the entire universe. And from there, we can actually co-create with Source itself, in Source itself, actually as the living logos manifest in this world. Because he is the head, we are the body. So get personal with Source, really tap in, and you too can have authority over these serpents and scorpions, and nothing. They can't even stand up to this power, guys. They're powerless against this power. Trust me, from my own personal experience. This last month has been a heck of a ride, but I've learned so much and I've stepped up my game, and nothing has been able to stop me. It's only accelerated me more into my vision and creating more of the world that I know I've come here to manifest. So I love you guys. I'll see you in the next reasoning sesh. Joel signing out once again. Agape, Salaam, Namaste. Shalom.